and then I plus plus. And then we have used the delay function here, the built-in function in XC8, and we have used that delay function ms, and this is 100. What does it mean? This ms means it will be
Is
delay millisecond, and whatever the number I am giving, that will be considered that much millisecond will be delay. And then we have closed this one. Okay, so there are several statements here, right?
yeah.
And if you want to make a delay for a particular instance, say turning on the LED, make a delay, turning off the LED, make a delay. That means this part of the code I need to copy and paste at a particular location, particular position of the code. Say if you turn on the LED, then you will write LAT, then copy this part and place there. Now these simultaneously, so multiple time if you want to use, and this is a small code of delay. Sometimes you might need similar type of uh, section of the code that can be repeated multiple time, but the length of that code is too long. So in that case, I don't want that I will write this part of the code multiple time. Instead of I will just write it in a function. So I will group this one, this section of the code I will group together and placed it inside a function, and then that function will be called one again and again, not the whole statement of that function. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that is the purpose of the code. So if you are using several times same section of the code, you are intending to use multiple time in your program, then instead of writing that section again and again, we write a function. Now sometimes this function is also known as function, and also sometimes it is called subroutine. There is a small difference between these two that we will discuss. So subroutine or the function. So how first thing in order to write both of the subroutine or function, we have three steps. I usually tell there are three steps. Step one is prototype declaration.
Mm.
Prototype declaration. So what is a prototype declaration? I have to, this is something like I need to tell my compiler that I am going to use a subroutine or I am going to use a function. And that prototype includes three things. One is what type of data that will return. So let me just write down different. So I need to write down what type of data. That means we have data that means integer or character or whatever. And then I need to write down the name of the function. I will write name of function name, whatever. So this name, that means this one should be, you can decide what would be the function name. So you have to write down function name. So this part, this name you can decide, and then parenthesis should start. And inside the parenthesis, I will use a different color. Inside this parenthesis, you need to write down what type of data it will take as an input. It can take one data, it can take multiple data. One can integer, another can be character. So y. So then the semicolon. So this is something like declaration. This is similar. If you compare, this is similar to declaration of a variable. So here you can see unsigned character I. So I have declared the variable. So here you are declaring the function. You need to tell the function. If it is just given an example, your function might be doing addition. Okay, then if you add 5 plus 5, it will return 10. So 10 is a number. So what type of result it will give, that is defined by this initial data type. So at the beginning I have written integer that tells what type of data it will return after execution of this function. So I will write with the blue. So this one tells what type of data the function will return. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the function name, it can be, if you do addition, you will give a meaningful name. If you are doing an addition, that you will add this name as addition. If you do subtraction, then you can give the name of subtraction. So it's up to you. You can decide. And then whenever you are passing inside, this is called the argument. Inside this parenthesis is called argument. So I will write in the same color. Is the argument. So argument, you have to pass the argument. You have to pass the argument. That means what type of data you will pass. You have to mention in the prototype, you have to mention what type of data you will pass as an argument. What type of data. And also you see we have declared the variable name also. Type and name both has to be mentioned. What type of data to be passed as an argument. Okay, so that has to be mentioned and that has to end with a semicolon. That is prototype. Right? Now,
Yeah.
where you will place this prototype?
To
You have
start.
to place this one before main function.
Yeah.
See inside your in your C program there is a main function and you have to place this one before main function. Before main function. Main dot main function. Okay. So
Mm.
function is always, this is also a function. You see this main is also a
Yes.
function and function ends with parenthesis. All
Emphasis on.
right.
Yeah.
Now, this is the step one, prototype declaration. I have declared this function, and if you think your function will not return anything, let me just mention this one. If you think your function will not return anything, that means it will not return any number
Mm.
and it will not return anything, then we use the term called void. So if you think your function will do a particular task, say delay. In delay, you have um, uh, i- in delay it is just waiting for a certain time, but it is not doing anything. It is not returning any number, right? After execution of the delay function, it is not returning any number. So I will write it is not, as it is not returning any number, it will be void. And then you can give the delay function as a name of the delay function as delay. If it is making a second delay, you can make delay second. And if you are not passing anything, then also you can write this void. So if you have an option that you can pass a number or you don't want to pass a number. So whenever I will write void delay second void, that means it will not pass any number. So it will not expect any number to be passed. So this, if you are not passing any number, then this type of function is called the subroutine. So this is also a function, but it is a special name called subroutine. Okay, so we have defined the subroutine. Subroutine is not that different with the function. Only the difference is in the subroutine, there is nothing, no argument is passed. So it is always void. Now, if you want to pass, say, if you don't pass any number, that means whatever inside this function that will be executed. That means you cannot modify. Say, if you have defined your function for 1 second, then you can call your function and that will make only 1 second delay. But if you want that your function will be versatile, that means you can give an argument. If you want 1 second, you will give an argument of 1 second. If you want to if you want to delay for 5 seconds, then you will write down 5. Then you can write down this one as void. Then delay, that means delay second. And then you can give a variable that 5, you want to pass 5, that means that will be character unsigned. You have to write unsigned character, so it should be, and then you can write s or x. So s is the name of the variable. So this is nothing but declaration of the variable. So same function I can write in two ways, without passing any number or passing one number. So that will be more clear whenever we do the second step and third step. So first step is the declaration, and that the prototype declaration that is done before the main function. Now, once you have declared the prototype, the second step, step 2 of the function, step 2, what you have to do? You have to define the function. What this function will do, that you need to define. Define the function. So what this function will do, that has to be defined. And how we will define? That means you have to copy this whole part inside this function. And it will start with the prototype declaration, whatever you have written, the same has to be written here. Let us take, I will write a delay subroutine. So what I will do, I will write void, then delay second, and then I will write void. So that prototype declaration, all I have written, but at the end, there is no semicolon. That means it is not terminated. No semicolon I am writing here, no semicolon. Now you have to write your code here. So that means your code will start with curly bracket and that will end with curly bracket. And now here you have to place your code. What is your code? You have unsigned character. And that part of the code that you want to repeat multiple times, that has to be placed here. So I will write unsigned character, then for I equal to 0, I less than 10, and I plus plus. And then this curly bracket is for the for loop, and then delay function. Delay millisecond 100. Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
So I have written, this is called the definition of the function. And definition of the function starts with the prototype declaration without the semicolon. So same thing, whatever you have written in the prototype declaration, you have to return, but at the end you should not give the semicolon. And then your code that you want to repeat, you want to use multiple time in your program, write down in semicolon. Okay. Now, as I have mentioned that we can modify this code, this one, if you run this one, that will make a delay for 1 second, always 1 second, because 100 times 10 will give you 1000, that will give 1 second of delay. Now you can change this one as a function by changing only a small part you need to change. Let us just write in different color. So instead of this void, let us write with this one. Instead of this void, if you change this one, so I'm just writing this one here. If you place here, so let us write here unsigned character S, then this S you can multiply here. If S value is 2, then 10 times 2 is 20. So 20 times 100 is 2000. So
Mm.
2000 millisecond means 2 second, right?
Yeah.
So that only this part, changing this part, this subroutine becomes function, and then you can change your delay, and that will be multiplied with this 10 and increase your delay. Okay. So where you will place this function? You have to place this function outside your main function. It should be outside. I'm writing it all capital and big letter because this is important. So you have to write outside the main function. So outside main function. Outside main function means anywhere outside main function. It can be before, it can be after. So so it eliminate the need of prototype declaration. That means you can avoid writing the prototype declaration if you place before the main function. So after writing a prototype declaration and definition, you have one function that can be used. Now step 3, you have to use this function inside your main function. Step 3, call this function. This is called calling of a function. Call this function wherever is necessary.
चलो आगे तो
Okay, so that means you need to write down, say, before this function where you have written your main function was starting. I'm not writing anything everything, then you might have used in inside the while loop, and you have turned on the LED, LAT A1 equal to 1, 1 second, you can call this function. How to call this function? You have to call with the name of this function. So you have to write the same spelling, same upper letter or smaller letter that you have used. So this delay second, and then if you pass a 1 second, that will be 1 second, and you can turn off LAT A2 equal to 2, 0, A1 equal to 0, turn off, and then you can make a delay for 2 seconds, delay second, and then you can pass this one too. So function is, it has to be, if you are not passing any argument, then also you have to use this parenthesis. If you are not using this parenthesis, that means it will not be recognized as a function. Okay, clear, Sarthak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now any question? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, then what we will do? We will do our one more lab. So that is placed in. So you have to do this one, and that is placed in module 2. Let me share my screen. Have you copied?
Module 2.
This part, whatever I have written. Okay, I can share this.
Module 2.
In mail to me. I can share what I have shared with you, what I have written in your canvas. I need down, and you, what we want to do, we want to do the canvas. If you go to canvas, and then this is the lab 1B, can you see
Lab 1.
lab 1B in module 2? In module 2,
Yes, Lab
then
1.
lab 1B, and this is the same if else statement we have done in the last class. So here you need to use a delay function. So it will remain on for 5 seconds. So 5 seconds it will be delay, and that will be done with your delay function. Okay.
Yeah.
And 10 seconds will be delay, that will be done with the delay function. So we will use the function to write down this code. All right.
Yeah.
So we have done the if else statement in the last class, right?
Yes.
With macros 1. So we will use the same thing. Okay, take your time. Then you finish this one, then we will do another lab today, and then if possible, we will do some theory. And
Oh,
whenever you are done, let me know.
okay.